question is, what was your inspiration to get into acting?
My inspiration for getting into acting, well, so when I was 10 years old, I was the oldest child and the oldest grandchild. And I realized that if I started writing plays, I could keep all of my little brothers and sisters and cousins all together. And so I just think of myself as a storyteller. And that's, I grew up in Alaska. I'm in Yupik on my mom's side, and my dad got stationed up there after the giant earthquake. And he was French Canadian and Cree, and so Alaskan native people we love telling stories, and that's what I just think of myself as. That was the inspiration.
All right, thank you. I just want to say I am also part Cree. So
you are?
Yeah,
oh,
so
cool.
That's neat. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Here, I just wanted to ask about entering into the sphere of voice acting. I got here a little bit late. Not too sure if you already talked about this or not.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious about how it was getting into that world. What were your inspirations? What were your challenges?
Well, my very first film was a Disney movie called Squanto: A Warrior's Tale, and so I was already in the Disney wheelhouse, right? But it was a live action movie. I played Squanto's wife, and he was there at the first Thanksgiving. That's why his story got told by Disney. And then the second film I did was a film called Lakota Woman, Siege at Wounded Knee. But while I was there filming, I got that. So it was, when I went to go and meet with them, because I had a couple of days between films, and so I went down and met with them in New York City, and we just had so much fun. I laughed we gave each other hugs at the end. I was like, I think I got that. But I love doing animation. It's basically you get to be a big kid, and animators are just basically big kids too. So, and it's something that I hope I always get to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
I was wondering if you've watched the FX series Reservation Dogs, and I'm curious about your perspective about how they portray Native life in America.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, it was just a very wonderful thing to finally have a television series with comic elements, with sad, poignant elements, with the ridiculousness of what it takes to be Native in this country, and the issues that they face, and the storms that they face, and I feel so wonderful about that show. I'm so glad it exists. Yeah.
Thank you.
Basically, when I watched Pocahontas as a young kid, your voice inspired me, and your voice followed me through even to this day, where I can listen to the songs that you sang and just the voice lines that you have, not just in Pocahontas, but in all of your movies, because I've tried to keep in touch with you as a fan, But I just wanted to ask a bit about preparing your voice for voice acting, preparing your voice for singing. I was in choir for a long time, and it takes a lot of work, and especially if as a teenager you can sing probably for hours, but when you get older you have to really take
warm up. Yes.
precious care of your voice, warm up for 2 hours and make sure you don't talk for over an hour the day before.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about your experience with preparing your voice and singing and just voice acting in that spree in general.
When I was a teenage girl, I was in the Anchorage Civic Opera and did the Anchorage Community Theater productions, and I always loved singing. I went to school for physics and philosophy, and then I realized that I really love being an actor and being a singer. And so I went to Philadelphia and went to the University of the Arts there, and that was very serious vocal training, And I'll tell you one thing too, which is really interesting, is because, we had to learn all these dialects, Scottish and Irish, and I'm like, no one is ever gonna ask me to do that. But I will tell you, it was very helpful to me when I go on sets and I have to speak a language I don't speak, right? I have to learn it phonetically, like a song. So, and yes, when on Squanto, my character, Squanto got kidnapped, and she gets in a canoe and screaming at the top of my lungs for days on end in the ocean. And yeah, you got to take care of it. You really do. And there, there's a tea that I really like when I do have to go to recording sessions, when I book on tape or narrating or whatever. It's called throat coat. It's really good. But also, we Native people have, what's it called? It's bear root. Yes, it's those powwow drum singers. They are oftentimes, biting on those little bear roots. You got to stay hydrated, right? And honey always works too. Honey works, honey.
You need on that shirt.
But yeah, I mean, on Squanto, I was gifted a song by a Mi'kmaq woman, and again, I still to this day remember those lines because I had to learn them phonetically, and with that song, which it basically just means the words are. Well, I'll sing it. Sachuwe giske salul neganki de la moon. Weheya, 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 weheya. Always I have loved you. Always I think of you. Always I think of you. Yeah. Sorry, my voice needs help right now. So
That's beautiful.
yes.
Powerful. Well, yeah,
Thank you.
And thank you for being an inspiration as well.
Thank you. Koyanak Brach. Hi.
Hi. Do you have any interesting stories from doing the voiceover on Pocahontas, or anecdotes?
Oh, I mean, so a lot of people, when we do episodic animation, we get to all get in a room together. I got to, be in a room with Casey Kasem when he still played Shaggy, when I did Scooby-Doo. But, on Pocahontas, on animated features, because we're all working on doing other things. I never actually had a recording session with, I've never even met Mel Gibson, who played John Smith. I did an entire movie with the guy, and I've never met him. But so we would go in there, once every, 2 or 3 months, they'd bring me in for another session. We would change whole storylines. Just work on all the way up until the last recording session that I had. They just felt like Pocahontas said the word path too many times, so I changed in one sentence the word path to way. But and then Linda Hunt, getting to see her, I'm a big fan of Linda and David Dawkins Steers, but I did do one recording session with Russell Means. They felt like, we needed to kind of build the rapport. At that time, he had just started acting, so it was new. It was a new thing for him. But he's an activist, so there's a little bit of acting in that too. But yeah, and then there was 110,000 people in Central Park, the world's largest premiere ever in the history of filmmaking. So that's an interesting story.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi. Oh,
Hi.
gosh, I'm freaking out a little. So sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
You'll probably get this a lot, but what was your experience with both the movies, Pocahontas and Pocahontas 2?
Oh, with both movies. Well, the second one, I only did, I think, 2 or 3 sessions. It was like they just bounced that one out, and I think that it doesn't shine as well as the first one. Okay, but I think it's a nice nice addition to kind of see where her life goes. People have asked me, like, if they do the live action Pocahontas, like, how would, I was like, well, if they did it, I think they would have to do it all the way up until she sees that ship coming, like, just have it be her life. Just have her own life, But yes.
So you prefer the first one?
So what?
You prefer the first one?
I do, yes. Yeah. Do you prefer the second one?
I honestly like the second one too.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm just saying that, between the two. It was 3.5 years of recording the first one, and it was, 2 recording sessions for the second one. So it was still at a time when we didn't have the massive trilogies that we do now, so usually the second ones are like, just pump them out, get them out, so yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
So a question would be, what advice would you give your past self as far as acting goes?
What advice would I give myself as far as acting goes? Well, every time I work on a film or a project, it's a new adventure. And, I love that adventure. I love learning, about all the different women that I've gotten to play, so many of them being historical figures, I would be nicer to myself just in general. I'm still trying to be nice to myself. One of the things that I was very shy growing up, super shy. And one of the things that I love about acting is that I get to be somebody else. Like, it's not me out there, it's her, it's she who I'm playing, And so, I don't think I would change anything other than just be nicer to myself, love myself better, more in general. Okay. And that sounds like a weird thing to say, but
Not to me.
Oh.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi. Pocahontas was always my favorite Disney princess growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And the music was my favorite part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kids nowadays have Elsa and Let It Go. Mine was Colors of the Wind that drove my mom crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So I was curious if, like, in both of the movies, did you have a favorite song that you sang, or like one that...
So I was the speaking voice, Judy Kuhn. She was on Sunset Boulevard and Chess at the time and on Broadway. Wonderful Broadway singer. And so she was the singing voice.
Oh, okay.
But, I probably Colors of the Wind out of the 2 movies. That's probably still, a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just around the river bend, too.
Hi.
Hi.
My incredibly shy Pisces sister, Ashley, Rhiannon Frutos, would like to know, who did you like more, John Smith or Coquam?
Oh.
Coquam was the fine one. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah, that's a hard choice. It's kind of like asking what my favorite child is. They both have reasons I thought they were great. Yeah, I wish Coquam would have had a better chance.
Thank you.
Hello again.
Hello.
Another kind of more philosophical kind of thing. With Prey coming out, with the more native representation being put out there, is there anything else that you would like to see in Hollywood for them to, do to better show a native life or history?
Well, there are so many untold Indigenous stories that still have yet to be told, and there so many beautiful stories as well, and so I'm glad that there are more and more representations of Native people in film and television. I'm glad that that perspective, seeing through those eyes and getting to understand more of why Indigenous people, Native people, are important in this world. And one of the things that I've also done, I was the delegate to the White House for the American Indian Enterprise and Business Council and to the United Nations. And one of the things that really we brought to the table was being at the forefront of climate change. We're the first ones to have noticed these things, to have noticed that some of these things in life are happening, and being the original caretakers of the earth. But you know what? We're all Indigenous. It's just that a little bit got paved over.
Thank you.
Hello. I love what you just said about it being paved over. It's so entirely true. I wanted to add, or just to say that, for the Native cultures in the Americas and Native cultures all around the world, it is so integral to have a connection with nature, to have a connection to the land and your surroundings. And, it's kind of hard for us to see being blocked in by these concrete walls and these cities that are paved over and there's no grass and trees anywhere. It's really hard to see that we are all still connected to nature. So I wanted to ask you if there were any moments in your life that pop up to you where you felt like in awe by nature, inspired by nature, where you kind of fell in love with a certain part of the world around you.
So I spent the summers, I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, but I got to spend the summers in my village, Koyuk, Alaska, which is in the Norton Sound, where the Arctic Ocean and the Bering Sea meet. I've had the chance to kind of go around the world, but that, going to Juneau, going to Anchorage, it's my home. I mean, those familiar smells and Nukibak, Nukbiak food, some agudak, which is salmon berries with seal oil.
Don't make me hungry, please. I just got here. I can't go be buying 7-Eleven food when you're talking about beautiful food.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had the chance to go a lot of different places, and I'm always still in awe, just even from driving from LA to here, all through those, and I'm like, those are the Purple Mountains Majesty. Those are they're just so beautiful, so beautiful, and And it's just a matter, I think, of trying to maintain or find that balance again between paving over it and letting it grow.
Exactly. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm also an Indigenous person, and I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for playing Pocahontas. Being a child, there's not a lot of Indigenous representation out there, especially when I was young, and Pocahontas was one that I really connected with, so I wanted to thank you for playing that role.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to ask you, besides Pocahontas, what do you feel is your favorite or the most impactful or meaningful role that you have played?
I mean, again, it's like kind of asking what my favorite, what's the favorite movie you've ever done? And, it's like each one, I mean, it has something so indelible in my mind, Smoke Signals, Into the West, which was a Spielberg 6-part miniseries where I played Margaret Lightshine's Yoyambia Wheeler, and that was a very epic, thing to be a part of. Getting to meet Mary Crow Dog and many of the people who participated in the American Indian movement and the siege at Wounded Knee in 1973. So that was, like so amazing and eye-opening for me, just to be in their presence and because I had read the book, Mary's book, Lakota Woman, and I sent it to my mom. I was like, you gotta read this book, right? And when I got to meet her, I was like, I could hear your voice. I knew, I just like read the book and knew exactly what her voice sounded like, and then to be able to portray her, that was amazing.
That's a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So how about a fun question?
Okay.
What is your favorite dessert?
That would be a gudok. That would be the salmon berries and with birch syrup and it's you would call it Inupiaq ice cream. The salmon berries look like little salmon eggs. They're like the size of a blackberry, and then birch syrup and seal oil, and it's all frozen and delicious.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Not so fun, sorry. Since you were traveling around the world, did you find that you have a lot of connection with different peoples around the world, the local populations, wherever they may be, whether they're indigenous or non-native or whatever, I don't know. Did you find that you had a different connection based on your experiences with, connecting with the land and those people? I know that's a weird question. Answer it any way you like.
Well, I mean, when Pocahontas came out, I was doing the worldwide tour, so like I said, I went to, all around America, and then Taipei, Taiwan, to Tokyo, Thailand, Bangkok, getting to meet people all around the world, and learning to just, go ahead and try whatever food you're being served because it's rude if you're like, look at, this is our delicacy. I'm like, okay, I'll eat it. But, the thing is, we all have, our parents, we all love, we all have to forgive the mistakes they made. We all have mothers and fathers and grandparents, relatives that go back 10,000 years, and I think what's happening with this world right now is that instant gratification kind of thing we have. And indigenous people, native people, have a true understanding of deep time. What I do today affects the next 7 generations. That there's a ripple. That, there's a tribe down in South America that, they go on their hunting grounds and they have to cross a river, right? And they, might lose a person or two just crossing that river every time they had to do it. So they would train ficus trees into a bridge, and it might take 80 years, and they might not even ever get to see it actually get finished. But they're thinking about their coming generations in that way, and I think I see that, when I go other places and I get to meet different tribes and different nations of people, and I just love learning about people. So, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So, with Native cultures throughout so many years, a lot of, the stories and the legends and culture is just shared through voice. It's shared through spoken word. And as the Western movement came and the development of this current nation came, so much was lost. I was curious to know if, as you were growing up or now, were there any stories that you have heard and learned that, that you love or that has inspired you as a person? And if you don't, if none come to mind immediately, is there any types of media where people have started to write down those legends and lore to be on written page to carry on to the next generation that you would recommend for us to check out?
Oh yeah, there's a revival in so many ways, language revivals, because the indigenous languages it's not just a translation of words, it's a way of viewing the universe. And so a lot, there are a lot of, children's books coming out and programs for language, and but they put my mother into the boarding schools, and she suffered greatly there. And when she passed away, I asked her twin sister, I said, why do you think Mom, she would, our elders would come and they would speak to her in Inupiaq, and she would understand, she would respond in English. And do you think she was ashamed of it? And she said, no, she just was ashamed she couldn't speak it well enough. And so we're reviving a lot of those stories as well, like the ones that got lost in those couple of generations that had to go to the boarding schools. Like the Messenger Feast, from up in Alaska. And, there's so many great and wonderful stories to find and learn. What's the name of? I can't remember the name. There's what? The name of Brian Shoshone, that place that he works. Yeah. So there's a revival in there, and in that revival are also revivals of stories. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.